Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to I Can't Shut Up Unless You Tell Me To. And today, I want to talk about Baldur's Gate 3. No, it is not the review. I still have some chunky work to do with that game. I have at least want to, go through a playthrough Romancing Shadowheart and an evil playthrough Romancing Mintheria before and touch on all the different things and different sides that I wasn't able to this time around. But that's not what I want to talk about here. That's in the pipeline, it's in the works, as is the Starfield review, as is this new Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty review. God, maybe it's a good thing that I'm currently unemployed. But I want to talk about the best possible tool in a tool belt for all spellcasters. And I say this not lightly, but in my time in Baldur's Gate, I have reclassed repeatedly. And one of the first in one of the classes that I foolishly thought I was enamored with was the Warlock. I mean, he got to use powerful spells, he could regain his slots on a short rest, and his Eldritch Blast was a genuine threat with the different upgrades you get over time. But over time I did realize, especially in the early game, the reason why I found the Warlock so valuable, reclassing from a sorcerer, was Eldritch Blast. In fact, Eldritch Blast was the reason I liked the Warlock so much. Because as a caster, I was able to blast and not have to take frequent long rests. Critical when there are important story points that I will lose out on because of, timing and things of that nature. But that being said, I realized that you could get a feat on all your characters called the Spell Shooter, or something along those lines. What it effectively does is it lowers the number you need to roll to crit with a spell, and it also gives you access to a free cantrip. One of those cantrips being Eldritch Blast. I'm now a wizard. Would I have been comfortable with a wizard initially? No. But personally, I have found that putting it on Shadowheart the Cleric, me the Wizard, or Sorcerer, give or take, depending, either or, and throwing one onto one of the two, whichever druid I am bringing with me, I found that Eldritch Blast, for all the fact, despite there being things like Magic Missile, despite there being very powerful spells, having a cantrip that, if you roll well, can deal 30 damage or more to a single enemy is insane. Minimum 10 points at the highest, 10 to 15 points at the higher levels. It is a disgustingly useful cantrip. And remember, it's a cantrip. You don't have to waste spell slots. So, because Eldritch Blast has become the main damage dealing, the base, spammable damage dealer that I had, spell that I have on my spellcasters, of which I usually run 3 of them in my party, of different types: healing, damage, hybrid, things of that nature. One of the things that I can say unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, is that being able to almost take some of the spells that you normally would get rid of because they don't do any damage, you end up slotting anyways. This has opened up the ability for me to do better crowd control, bottleneck enemies with rough terrain of different types that do different damage. Pairing it with a druid that is able to summon a shit ton of people is even more powerful. Someone like Jaheira could quite literally, paired with, the way I have my Shadowheart spec'd and the way I'm spec'd, we're running into a room with, 12 with 10 to 12 summons ready to go, and that's not including any spectral weapons me or Shadowheart may summon. It makes boss battles. It makes boss battles less intimidating. Not less challenging. Boss battles are still hard for a variety of reasons, but being able to have a verbose tool belt on your casters is a godsend, and not having to juggle, do I save these spell slots for damage or do I save them for da-da-da-da? No. It literally, because you have such a powerful cantrip that is available to you for the low cost of a single feat, and if I'm being perfectly honest, the only thing that was difficult with it was someone like for me who likes to have a higher charisma stat for, persuasion checks and the like. It absolutely, unless you're like desperate to like bump up non-class based attributes, you're just having a great time. I cannot state enough that you need the feat that gives you Eldritch Blast on your casters. I know you might want to give them, light armor mastery. I know you might want to, give them mobile or alert. All valuable things, don't get me wrong. You might even want to give them some spells or cantrips from other classes. I get it. But either of the two feats that give you Eldritch Blast are mandatory. In fact, I would say you'd be better off getting the one that lowers your threshold for critting with spells. Because going from like 20 to 19 or 19 to 18 or 18 to 17 doesn't feel like a lot necessarily, in your head, but you're now you are increasing like your ability to hit by 5%. Let's say like you are going to crit on an 18. Well, that's lowered now down to a 17. And those rolls, and that's before any modifiers go to those rolls. And later in the game, at level 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you're going to hit that threshold a lot, and especially if you're having an Eldritch Blast at the level 7, 8, 9, you're able to send 3 blasts in one go. You're going to hit crit at least one of those. That's going to happen. And then you can set up a level 8, and then you can, if you don't want to go the summon spam route, you could set up a concentration firewall across a spread of enemies, mark them, have your other person put down a plague of flies to restrict movement and cause damage, have a druid throw down spiky thorns or whatever and restrict movement even further and deal even more damage. I was able to beat 6 to 700 HP enemies and a boss by bottlenecking them in a hallway and a door. And the only way to get to us was through that field of area hazards. And through combining that with walls of fire, some summons that were also able to do those things, we were able to, if I'm being perfectly honest, skip over a lot of content, which is another reason I'm probably going to be doing this a lot later on in the game. Oh my god, why am I so stupid? Regardless, if you are playing Baldur's Gate 3 and you have a caster on your team, which you should for team balance, once you hit level 3, pick up Eldritch Blast. I promise you, you will not be disappointed.